Hi, fifth graders. Welcome back to Fantasy Writing. This is session number 5, and today we're working on creating a problem and solution for your stories. So we're continuing with brainstorming. This will be our last session of brainstorming, and we will start next time with drafting our stories. I know some of you have already come up with a problem and solution, or you have an idea of what you would like it to be, which is fantastic. If you haven't, today's lesson is hopefully going to help get those juices flowing and get you coming up with some great ideas of where to take your story. So first things first, hopefully you watched the Pixar storytelling video about conflict. Now you are watching my video. And then afterwards, you're going to complete the activities and submit your work. Make sure you're brainstorming and thinking of several different problems and solutions for your story ideas, because you may find that one works better than the other. And obviously throughout the writing process, things change. So it's always good to have some backups. So let's take a look at today's slides. Again, we're working on lesson 5, which is problem and solution. So one thing that we want to work on is cutting to the chase. Sometimes, this is an example. Sometimes when I talk to my mom on the phone, she tells me stories about my cousins. She often gets sidetracked in her stories. She gets into all the tiny details of their lives. 20 minutes later, I have to steer her back on course so she gets to the good stuff. Sometimes when we're telling a story, it's easy to get sidetracked because we have so many ideas going on in our heads. But when it comes to writing a fantasy story for our purposes, we want to make sure that we're really including enough details to make our stories descriptive, but not going overboard with those details to the point where we get sidetracked and lose focus of what the point of the story is. So make sure that when you're adding in those details, you have in mind what the purpose of those details is and how it relates back to your main point of your story. When fantasy writers are telling stories, they tend to have them happen within a day or two. Often the story is a short quest that is given to the main character at the start of the story, where they are faced with one or two clear challenges which are overcome with a clear ending. So within our story arc, we have a clear challenge and a way that we need to solve it. Typically, it only lasts about a day or two. This is not a story that would last over months or years. Creating conflicting character goals. Having developed both our hero and anti-hero or villain, we must set clear goals for both characters. Their goals must contradict one another to cause a clear conflict. It's tempting to create a complex, epic story, but to be successful, we need to create one or two simple challenges that drive our story. So create a focus for your story. What is the one challenge or two challenges that need to be solved? Typically, we have a hero and an anti-hero or a villain that are competing with opposite goals. Okay. So for example, John is an upstanding, law-abiding citizen who has committed to a life of fighting crime as his superhero persona, the Jolt. John has a twin brother called Michael who is the opposite of himself in every way. Where John upholds rules, Michael annihilates them. The brothers face each other in the ultimate showdown. John must pick between his brother and keeping his community safe. Okay, so here we see that we have John, the hero. We have Michael, the anti-hero. They have opposite goals. One is to uphold the rules, the other is to create havoc. And we see that in order to save his community, he will have to go against his brother, which is a challenge for him. So we have two challenges. One would be saving the community, and the second one would be the fact that he has to choose between his community and his brother. So we have a clear set focal point for this storyline. Keep it simple. As fantasy writers, it is easy to get excited and create an elaborate story with many characters, thick with plot and subplots. However, the most successful stories have one or two clear challenges with a clear and well thought out resolution. So we have a straight path from our problem to a resolution. How can we solve this issue? Now you're going to try coming up with some ideas. As fantasy writers, it's easy to get excited and create an elaborate story with, oh wait, did I already read that paragraph? I think it was a double. Yep, it is. My bad. Okay, so it's all right. You have it in there twice. On the next few slides, think about your characters from some of your story ideas and one or two clear challenges or problems they might face in your story. Then think about how they overcame those challenges or how they can overcome those challenges. So what is your main problem going to be and what is your solution? On the following sheets of paper, you should have these with you in a hard copy. You can write it down, or you will need to write it down type it so that we can see. If you prefer to write it on paper, you may upload a picture, but I think for these purposes, it would be clearer and best if you can just type it into these slides. So in this first section, you have the hero's goal. So you'll type in, what is your hero trying to accomplish? Is the goal to obtain the magical wand? Is the goal to protect the civilization from the villain? Is the goal to save their brother from an impending doom? What challenges will they face? What villain is working against them? What obstacles may they have to overcome within themselves? So maybe something they're not confident in themselves, or they worry too much. Anything internal or external that they would encounter throughout the story that would be an issue that they would have to overcome. Finally, how will they solve those problems? What steps need to be taken in order for your hero to be successful in the end and to resolve those issues? Okay, so you have 3 different slides. You're going to come up with different pathways that your story could take. This way you have some options. Make sure that you're using clear, concise language so that it's easier to follow along for us teachers, and also so that when you go back and review it, you know exactly what you were thinking, okay? All right, let us know if you have any questions.